This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL, but we encourage you to like and share them on Facebook. Howard Insurance of Port St. Lucie now presents the African American Scene with Rudy Howard.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night. Well, we have the Democratic debate tonight. That should be interesting. Let me tell you, people are so funny. I put a question on Facebook this morning, and my page just absolutely blew up. I said that my wife asked me this morning, who was I going to vote for? And I said, well, I'm not sure. Then after giving it some thought, I said, whoever I'm going to vote for, they can't be supported by corporate money. That was my statement, boy, and that just, I must have 70 comments on my
That's all you said?
That was it. Everybody jumped into that, including my nephew from North Carolina. He posted about 4 times on there.
Wow.
Yeah, but, I guess people are into it right now because the crazy man we have in the White House is making people nuts.
How do you define corporate money?
If you are getting bundles of cash from like
super PACs and stuff?
Yes, like that, right?
Oh.
And the reason why I've taken that position is I'm of the opinion that our government has been bought and paid for by those with a lot of money. And my buddy Dominic, who always is on my page and sending me stuff, and who owns the bookstore Poetic Justice Books and Art, Morningside Shops, and who has graciously donated a prize. I gave away 1 book last week, and I will give away 1 book this week. He's always talking about the fact that the government has been bought and paid for. I happen to think that's true, and I can cite numerous examples for why I believe that to be true. And I don't know how we're going to get out of this unless we try very hard to eliminate the politics of money. And I don't know that we can ever do it completely, but I think we have to make an effort to try. One of the things I think maybe we even should consider going to public finance. And I remember years back, there was a little checkbox on your tax return that you could donate $5 for a national election. But so be it.
It's not like being able to give $1,000 or $1 million.
Yeah.
Like a super PAC.
Right. Because listen, it is naive to believe that people are going to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars and expect nothing in return. That's just naive. It's just, they're going to have access, and if they have an agenda item, they're going to try to push that agenda item. So, and I think that has put the average guy at a severe disadvantage. And I'm going to talk more about that. I was expecting a guest, but he's not here, and I don't think he's going to be here because I haven't heard from him, and he didn't text me. But I'm prepared. Topic number 1. The Waltons are fleecing you, not poor people. I've talked about this before. But somebody posted some statistics on Walton Billions. And so I took it one step further and did some additional research, and I'm going to share that with you. Topic number 2, and I am ashamed to say I didn't know about this. My uncle sent me a tape in which a lady testified, a videotape, that Martin Luther King was actually murdered in the hospital, and that there was actually a civil case. And I looked at that cross-eyed, and then I went out and I did some research, as you know I'm prone to do, and I found it. There was a verdict on December 8th, 1999, a civil suit that was brought in Memphis, and it proves that he was assassinated, and there were multiple players involved. So if you got questions about that, we could talk about that too. Who will you vote for? And tell me why. I'm interested more of the why as much as I am the who. Who will you vote for? Let's see. There's a lot of talk about socialism. Is requesting fairness being a socialist? That's what I want to know. Is that being a socialist? And then finally, is there too much money in politics? I talked about that at the outset. Do you think there's too much money in politics? I'm very interested in your thoughts on any of those topics. The phone number is 340-1590. 340-1590. Trivia question for tonight. And you'll get a book from my friend Dominic Albanese, Poetic Books and Justice, 1774, Port St. Lucie Boulevard in the Morningside Shops. And the question for tonight: I was the first black man to host a TV show. I was the first black man to host a TV show. Who am I? I got you, Cliff. Cliff don't know. Cliff doesn't know who that is. I was the first black man to host a TV show. And if I don't get an answer in a few minutes, I'll even tell you what year it is. But
that would probably help.
Yeah, it will help.
Because I know what my guess would be, but I'm probably wrong.
So, okay. So let's talk first about the thing I did on the Waltons. I think it's really interesting. We got a caller there?
Yeah, one of the Steves is with us.
Okay, Steve. Yes, sir.
Yes. Well, you want to know who I'll vote for? Yes, I will vote for Trump.
Okay.
But the main reason I will, more than anything, I mean, he's not like, he's true Christian, as they put it, whatever like that.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's more so that there's a lot of people that claim to be Christian, but they have no problem voting for somebody who wants to kill babies. They want to take God out of school, out of the government. And at least I would vote for him for that purpose. He's trying to do what he can to stop killing babies, and he's trying to get God back into the government. And to me, that's, we didn't have all these shootings going on all the time back when God was taught in school. It's after he quit you couldn't allow him in school that kids didn't know any better. They started shooting people.
So you think his behavior is indicative of demonstrating Christian faith?
Like what I said, he's not what I consider a Christian. But anybody who's going to be voting for somebody who wants to go out and kill babies and take God out of school, how can they be considered a Christian?
Well, here's what I have to say about this, and I've had this debate with my good friend Brian Longworth, who I'm sure you know if you're a pro-life person. Here's my problem with that. I am not for killing unborn babies, but what makes me mad is there's this clear and shout about killing the unborn, but then after they're here, you don't want to help them. And that to me is contrary. If you're for life, life doesn't begin when you come out the womb. Life begins.
I fully agree.
Okay, life
But
begins.
see, my wife and I had tried so hard to go to adopt a baby, but there wasn't enough babies around to adopt.
That's not true. You just
Well,
wanted.
at the time we were trying to, we could not.
Well, let me just say this to you. There is hordes, dozens of babies, especially if you don't care what color they are. Now, if you just want a white baby, yeah, it's probably a little bit more difficult. But there are plenty babies to adopt. Plenty. If you wanna go and have your heart broken, just go to the library and look at the Blue Book. The Blue Book in the library is a list of all the babies that are out there that are available for adoption. There's babies out there to adopt. You know, but now if you want a white baby.
Well, actually, we were trying to get a little Spanish baby.
Well,
and we went through the ringer trying to get this little baby.
Well, I think you could easily get a baby, even from if you started as a foster parent and took a kid, and that baby could eventually become yours. There's an opportunity for you to do that.
No, I agree. I mean, it's a good chance of that. Since then, I've gotten too old to be able to. I mean, I'm upper in age now. I can't do it. But I'm saying what we had trouble doing before.
Okay, but I'm just saying.
But
see,
it's not so much taking care of that. Is it better to, kill something?
Here's the example. Here's the example that I'm going to give you. You are supporting him because he's pro-life. And he's right now considering giving a deep cuts to a school lunch program. What's that all about?
Why, if we already have welfare, we have food stamps. I'm wondering already, why do we have free lunches all summer anyway? These parents aren't spending the money properly.
Okay. Have you ever been involved to see what happens to some of those kids? Sometimes that's the only meal those kids get every day.
Well,
and do you know that one of the congressional people, well, I know for a fact, Cory Booker, he took a SNAP for a month to see what it would be like to try to live on a SNAP budget for a month. And he was horrified by how difficult it was to try to feed himself for a month off a SNAP program.
Well, when you think about probably what he's used to eating, yeah, it probably would be.
Well, I think for anybody, Steve, it would be pretty tough slog. But anyway, but thank you for calling.
But anyway, I mean, even back to the babies, yes, to me that's extremely important. And I understand, yes, there are some who's going to help take care of them. I can understand all that. But we go back to my original part, though. If we wouldn't have taken God out of school, these kids would have had a chance to learn right from wrong. They don't know any right from wrong anymore. You go into some of these schools, and these kids are like just little total heathens because no one can do anything about it.
Okay.
They can't be corrected.
Okay.
Because somebody get in trouble. They try to correct them. Next thing you know, that teacher or that principal, someone's in trouble.
All right. Okay.
But it's like I said, they don't know right from wrong anymore. They are never taught that. If their parents don't take them to church, they'll never know right from wrong.
You don't think that
when I was in the 7th grade, part of our passing the English class, we had to quote from memory Psalms 23.
Mm-hmm.
And, now you can't even bring a Bible to school. And like I said, after they took God out of school, that's where we started having all these school shootings. Because there is no thought of life to these kids anymore. They kill the babies. I mean, how can they think there's any importance to life?
Well, I think that's kind of an extreme position, but I accept it. I accept your thoughts on that. But okay, sir, thank you very much for calling.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and we have Davis. David, is it? On line 2. You answering the trivia question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I believe that was Nat King Cole.
Bingo! You win the prize. 1956, David. It was
2 years before I was born.
Yep, that was Nat King Cole. You're right. 1956. So let Cliff get your information because I'll have to give your name to my friend Dominic so he knows you're coming to get your book. Okay?
All righty.
All right. You have anything else you want to say before I give you the Cliff? Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You have anything you want to say before Cliff takes your information?
Yes, I wanted to make a little comment about the adoption thing.
Yes.
I'm adoption. My parents were elderly when they adopted me. They were both in their, and if it hadn't have been for them adopting me, I don't know where I would have ended up. And I applaud them 100%. I have lost them, but they were the best parents I've ever had.
Understand. Appreciate you saying that.
Not a problem.
Okay, sir. Cliff's going to take your information.
Okay.
Already. Thank you, David. Okay, let's talk about the Waltons. Forbes did a report in 2014 that the Walmart workers cost taxpayers $6.2 billion in public assistance, okay? Now, I want you to hear this very carefully now. Stay with me with the math. $6.2 billion in public assistance is paid to Walmart employees because they don't make enough money to qualify that they can take care of themselves without assistance. Now, I'm going to give you the wealth of the top 7 Waltons. Number 7, Nancy Walton, $6.6 billion. Ann Walton Krenke, $7.6 billion. Christy Walton, $8.3 billion. Lucas Walton, $17.6 billion. Samuel Walton, $50.1 billion. Alice Walton, $50.7 billion. And Jim Walton, $51.4 billion. For a total, those 7 Waltons, a total of $192.3 billion. And they're giving the taxpayer a $6.2 billion bill for providing benefits for their employees. And you're worried about somebody on SNAP collecting a steak or a lobster tail off of their SNAP benefits? That is fleecing personified. If they make $192 billion and they're turning around and giving us, the taxpayer, a bill for $6.2 billion because they don't want to spend enough of their money to pay their workers, that is a fleece. It's far worse than any welfare queen. It's far worse than anybody buying a lobster tail on a SNAP. But we have Mike on line 1. Yes, sir.
How's it going, Rudy?
Okay.
I'd like to answer your question and then address a couple of things that you were talking about.
Okay.
Of course, I'm going to give the boring answer probably tonight. I'm going to vote for Trump.
Okay.
The reason that I'm going to vote for Trump is because it's a little more complicated than, let's say, the average bear.
Okay.
I voted for Ross Perot back in the day because I felt that a business person could do a better job at managing the government and the economy than your average politician.
Okay.
I think in the last 3 years, it's been proven that he has done a fabulous job with jobs, economy. You look at the unemployment rates, they're just absolutely amazing. Now, getting to what some of the other folks have talked about, yes, I am pro-life, and I'm going to share something tonight I've only shared with a handful of people. So I call myself an abortion survivor. The reason is that my biological father wanted me dead, and there's no getting around that actuality. He wanted me taken care of. Now, fortunately, my mother and my mother's family had a strong religious background, and they weren't going to have any part of that. So, thank goodness, back in the 60s, where it wasn't easy to raise a single child unmarried, she opted to do the difficult thing. And really, if you look at the statistics with abortion, it's your peoples that have been harmed the most. And when I say your peoples, I mean the black culture.
Mm-hmm.
Many, many more black babies are killed by the abortion clinics than there are white ones. And if you go further, and if you look at the fact of the founders of Planned Parenthood, and it was designed to be a eugenics project. So for those reasons, for the reasons that I listed with the economy, with the fact that all of the obstacles put in this man's path, he was still able to turn us around amazingly in a very short amount of time. And no, I don't believe that this was an inherited economy. He's worked very hard at where we're at today, and I think...
So you think Obama had nothing to do with the growth of the economy?
I think he had a part in its demise.
How
I
so?
think during the Obama years.
Okay. I want to hear that. Tell me what demise he had in the economy. Please explain that to me.
Sure. Do you remember the famous line that these jobs aren't coming back anymore, that Mr. Trump's going to wave a magic wand and...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's what I mean by that. The premise that he ruled with was it's not possible for these jobs to come back in the way that they had previously.
Have they come back?
Absolutely, they've come back.
So the coal jobs...
And they're still coming back.
Coal jobs have come back?
Coal jobs are coming back, but they're not near where they used to be, thanks to the Obama years, because his administration did an excellent job at demonizing coal and the whole industry. So, no, those have not rose back quite like other jobs, but manufacturing sure has made a stellar return.
Manufacturing jobs have made a full comeback.
Not a full comeback.
Manufacturing jobs are much better off now than under Obama.
I would say that they are, because at least now we're able to manufacture. We've got fairer markets that we're able to sell these goods in. Absolutely, they're better than what they were when he left.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know that you could make that case with documented information, because there's nothing that says that to be the case, because President Obama...
You can look at the stock market.
Well,
you can look at
the stock
the unemployment rate. Something's happening there. I mean, we're at some of the lowest unemployment rates that we've been in decades.
Well, the stock market was doing pretty well under President Obama. President Obama basically saved the auto industry, and he did. And you know,
I'll grant you this. And I wasn't too happy with President Bush's attempt at all of that too, with the bailouts and TARP, and I thought that was very wrong-headed for how our society, how our capitalistic society operates. But setting that aside, and again, I'm not giving him a pass on that. I thought that was part of the problem that Obama did inherit. I mean, absolutely, the economy was shifting, but I believe that it could have been a much shorter.
It was in a free fall when he took over, not shifting.
Again,
it was in a free fall.
The question becomes, though, it was predicted. Many wise stock people said that this was going to happen under a Democratic administration or a Democrat administration.
Boy, I think
for
that's so
the normal reasons.
No, that's not true. Because you know what? Let's go back and look at history honestly. Every time that the government has been pulled out of a financial situation, it's been a Democrat, not a Republican. Bill Clinton, with all of his problems, handed George W. Bush a $3 billion surplus. So,
Yes,
that Democrat didn't. Wait a minute. That Democrat did not destroy the economy.
I would say that his administration did more harm to our economy than what. I mean, the market bounced a few different reasons.
Oh, you're saying Clinton did more harm to our economy?
No, I'm saying Obama did more harm to our economy than he had helped.
No, I definitely disagree with you. If you look at if you hear any economists, he stopped us from going into a crash like the 30s. He stopped it. He stopped it. Believe me, what he did with that TARP money, had he not done it, that started with George W. Bush.
It did.
Yes, he did. But he carried it forward, and he stopped the free fall. We were losing 500,000 jobs a month when he took over.
But the underlying cause. Let's talk about that recession for a minute. What was the underlying cause of that recession? The housing market, right? And what was the cause of the housing market?
I don't think that was the total cause, but all right. Let's say you want to blame it on the housing market. So
I want to blame it on the laws that said that we had to lend folks in the subprime market that really probably shouldn't have been lended to.
I knew you were going there.
Well,
okay.
Sorry. But.
Well, that's your statement. But what caused us problem was the credit default swaps, more so than housing. Selling those credit default swaps sunk us further and further into the hole because they kept selling bad paper to make money. That had nothing to do with the people buying the house. They were buying bad paper and encouraging.
They were lending to folks that could not repay.
Do you know what credit? Do you know what credit? Do you know what credit default swaps are?
I have an idea, but please.
No. So before you make that statement, go find out what credit default swaps are before you keep living on that theory that they kept giving bad money to people that shouldn't have gotten it. And here's item number 2. We started a war with Iraq and simultaneously made a tax cut. That is I'm telling you, can't get any more stupid than that. That's just catastrophic stupidness. That killed our economy.
I'm gonna say something that you may just absolutely flip out. I agree with you.
Okay.
I think that whole situation with the Middle East was not worth one American life.
Oh, okay. Well, we won't have an argument there, but I'm trying to tell you that saying that they gave loans to people that shouldn't have gotten loans was the reason why we got into that catastrophe was not the sole reason. Is it a contributing factor? I'll accept that it's a contributing factor. Some people may have gotten loans that shouldn't have got them. But there was a whole lot of other factors, including that tax cut when we were investing trillions of dollars in a war. That made no sense.
The war comparative was I hate to make it sound like this, but the dollars were a drop in the bucket compared to what the total over outstanding was with the housing market problem.
That's not true. You need to go do.
It's a lesser.
You need to go. You need to go do some homework. Do some homework, because that's not true. You want to make it. You want to make it that it was all a housing situation, but that's not true. And I got to let you go because I got another phone call.
Before you do, I just have one question, if I could.
Sure.
Who are you favoring in the debate tonight?
I'm still in a quandary. I'm not sure. I don't have a favorite. I don't wait. I don't have a favorite.
Bloomberg?
I don't have a favorite right now. I'm in the process of still digesting information, trying to decide who I think would be best for our country. Because for me, what's going to drive my vote is who I think can best bring our country back to sanity and some normalcy. That's going to drive my vote. So that's my answer. I don't have an person right now.
Unfortunately, that's a tall order because, again, just like what we've been discussing, it's more complicated than just one man and the agenda that he had stated for almost a decade before what he was going to do when he got into office, and
Okay, well, thank you for calling. And we got Jeff on line one. Yes, sir.
Why are you worried about Obama at this stage of the game? We got enough of a catastrophe going on now with what's going on.
I agree.
You got a communist up there, and you got a guy that wants to grab every black guy and throw him up against the wall and take his gun away. Oh, my God. This country's gone to hell in a handbasket. That's our two presidential leaders? Oh, that's horrible, Rudy.
Uh-huh.
Oh, where are people at? Don't we have anybody that can run this country without an issue?
Well, are you happy with who we have in the White House now?
You want to know something? It's a lot better than a communist, and it's a lot better than a guy that's going to take somebody and slam them up against the wall and take their gun away.
Did Bloomberg ever slam anybody up against the wall?
He ordered it.
Did he do it himself?
Stop and frisk. Do you not know about stop and frisk?
Of course I know about stop and frisk.
Go to the black neighborhood.
I know all about stop and frisk. I got friends that live in Brooklyn and Manhattan. And they've told me repeatedly about...
That's all I got to say on this issue. I mean, the Democrats are in a tizzy. We don't have a clue what the hell's going on.
You think so? Well,
so
let me...
All right, I'll let you go, Rudy.
Okay, all righty. We have another caller?
Well, no, we couldn't get to it fast enough because we had two calls going, and I knew you were going out of the one call into the other. I wasn't able to answer it fast enough, and whoever it was wasn't patient enough to let us answer it. Maybe they'll call back.
Yeah, you can call back. Okay.
Yeah, Rudy's not done getting yelled at yet, folks.
Yeah.
He doesn't mind. He's not offended by it.
Not at all.
This is his thing.
That's not at all. I'd love it. Come call up. Get after me, if you will. I'm ready for it. But if you call up and you want to give me garbage, I'm going to call it garbage. If you give me garbage, you better make sure you did your homework. Because if you didn't, I'll tell you didn't do your homework. Okay. So now, if we go back to how we like to credit poor people for taking our money and that they don't deserve because they don't work hard enough is what they like to tell us. And we got Scott on line one. Yes, sir.
Rudy, how you doing?
Okay.
My pleasure. I want to ask your advice.
Okay.
I'm talking about what are we going to do with the CIA, the FBI, the Democratic Party, and the media all working together and getting caught. Does this not bother you, Rudy?
What do you mean getting caught? What are you talking about?
What am I talking about?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we do know the CIA, John Brennan, has spied upon the Trump administration, one administration that was running.
That's not true. That's already been debunked. That's absolutely untrue. That's one of those conspiracy theories out there.
Rudy, what world are you living in, Rudy? Really, 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 what world are you living in?
I live in the real world, and I don't
You're
do
not, Rudy.
I don't do conspiracy theories.
All right.
And if you say Brennan,
you're calling it a conspiracy.
it is a conspiracy theory. There's no
right.
proof. There's no proof of that at all. You can't.
Okay.
You
So
cannot.
All right.
You can't get
We'll
up
go
and
there. We'll
well,
go
wait.
there.
Wait a minute.
We'll
Wait a
go
minute.
there.
Wait a minute. Let me tell you. On my show, I'm not going to let you call up and besmirch somebody's character, and you don't have the facts to back up the statement that you're making. There is no factual evidence at all that Brennan was spying on Trump's campaign. None. Zero.
All right. The dossier does not bother you at all.
Who did the dossier?
Are you kidding?
Are you accusing the Democrats of doing the dossier?
Did the Democratic Party not pay for parts of that dossier?
Well, the dossier
Of
was
course, it's not
started.
proven yet.
Well, the dossier was started by the Republicans, who paid that company to do research, and when they pulled out, wait a minute. Now let me give you the facts. When they pulled out from the research that they were doing for the Republicans, then the Democrats stepped forward and they got some of the information. The gentleman that was principally responsible for doing the investigation of the dossier was Michael Steele, I believe, from England, who had been a long time person who had provided investigative information to our FBI and CIA. That's a fact. That's not conjecture.
How does that justify somebody going and spying on a campaign? That does not justify.
He was doing background research. Was he spying on the campaign? Do you have any information that shows that they were spying on the campaign? Because I just saw the other night that they proved that there was no spying on the campaign.
Well, Carter Page was spied on. The DOJ did admit that happened. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. That does not bother you?
No, it does not. And you know why it doesn't bother me?
Yes, sir.
They were on the Carter Page before he ever became affiliated with the Trump campaign because he had been making routine visits to Russia.
On to him?
Well,
or was he working for them?
They had Carter Page under observation before. Now I want you to listen to me very carefully. They had him under observation before he became affiliated with the Trump campaign. Look it up. The information's out there. Now, what I will say, it appears that in some of the FISA warrants that were drawn up for Carter Page, that they were less than accurate. I will grant you that. But that doesn't constitute spying per se.
I've got a problem. This is what I'm feeling, Rudy. I'm feeling that this media is tied up with the Democrats. All right, and we have the CIA and the FBI. If it comes out, Rudy, that there was, just like they said about the Russia collusion, if we find collusion between these two parties, especially the media, from what I'm hearing, Rudy, the FBI has received gifts, okay, from some of the media, like baseball tickets or tickets to concerts. And all it takes, Rudy, is just one email, one thing like that.
Do you have any information? Do you have any information that shows that FBI people received gifts from media people?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any information, concrete information, that shows that the FBI received gifts from media people? The answer is no, you don't. No, you don't have anything.
No, of course I don't. But when it does, Rudy, what excuse are you going to have then?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, you're talking to the wrong guy, because you know what? If there's anybody that should be very skeptical of the CIA and the FBI, it's me, Mr. Black Man, because they've done some really bad things to black people from the FBI and the CIA. But on a whole, they have protected us and our country. And while I am very unhappy with some of the things that they have done, including spying on Martin Luther King because they felt he was a threat to society. So when you're talking to a guy about the FBI, I certainly got some misgivings about the FBI, but I'm not going to say things about them that I can't prove to be true.
I got you. Rudy, let me say this last thing. This is what bothers me.
Okay.
I think it was yesterday. We had the 75th anniversary of our veterans in World War II storming the shores of Iwo Jima, Okinawa.
Okay.
My father was a Marine.
Okay.
And he fought back then.
Okay.
And I have two brothers that fought in Vietnam.
Okay.
Now, they fought for my vote. If I find out any of these people interfered with this voting process, you know where I'm going, right, Rudy?
Well, tell me.
My father and every other veteran that died, that gave me the right to vote, all right? If we catch anybody messing around with our voting system, which I'm pretty sure happened in the past, or trying to do so, that's where I got the problem. That's my vote, Rudy, my blood today. Gives me the right to vote for whoever I please, not for whoever's in a high, powerful position.
Okay.
Moving things around because they can.
Listen, I respect your right to vote. I would fight for your right to vote to death. I hope you feel the same way about the suppression of black people's votes in this country. I hope you do, because I'll give you an example of something going on right now. They put on the ballot an initiative to restore people's right back to vote. They did it the right way. They won. And now they're blocking those people from voting. What do you think about that? Tell me what you think about that. Huh?
Which were you referring to?
I'm telling you that the Amendment 4 was on the ballot. It passed, and that amendment allowed the restoration of rights for people that have served their time in prison, and they're now trying to block those people from voting. What do you feel about that? Tell me how you feel about that.
Well, it's a whole other topic. But
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's about the right to vote. It's about the right to vote. Huh?
I think crimes are different.
No, it's about if you committed a nonviolent crime, you served your time, and they are giving you back your rights to vote. Why would you, if you are so strong about you not being able to get your vote to the point of violence, why is it okay to take those people's right to vote away?
Because it's not okay to take them away, but independently, Rudy, what if somebody snuck in here and then became a citizen by sneaking in? Then is it okay, even though it wasn't a violent crime, to let them become a citizen and vote? You know what I mean? Like
that's another one of those
individualized. I see where you're going, and I agree with you. There's a point where people should be able to have their rights back for a nonviolent crime.
Okay, all right. I
do agree with you there.
Okay, I gotta let you go. I got two calls waiting.
That are violent.
Okay, Let me. I gotta let you go. I got 2 calls waiting. Winnie. I'm sorry, Winnie.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
Thank you for the gift. I don't have to go to Port St. Lucie that much. I don't have to thank you for the.
No,
the
gift. The gift's right here.
I don't have to go to Port. I don't have to go to Port St. Lucie that
It's
much.
in Fort Pierce. The station's here in Fort Pierce.
Huh?
The station is here.
Pick it up. Oh, the station. Pick it up from the station.
Yes. Your gift certificate's at the station. Okay, so come here and pick it up.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
4100 Metzger Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
The station.
Okay.
Okay. The debate tonight, but what about P-E-T-E? That guy? They say
Buttigieg?
They say he gay.
He is gay. He admits it.
Look like people like him. Look like he's number 2 or 3 or something.
Yeah.
I know they say Barry's got a number 1. He probably the other guy, maybe a Blueberry, might be number 2 or something. You know, he might be number 3 or something like that. Like people like him for some reason.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That Pete. But anyway.
I gotta let you go. I got another call, Winnie.
Well, I don't care who wins the nominee. What is it about the Democrat? I don't care who wins it though, because some of the people, what is it, 7, 8 years old. To me, that's too old. But anyway, I don't care who wins it. Whoever wins, I just vote for whoever. I don't care who wins the nominee for the Democrat.
Okay.
I'm going to get Trump now. I think I picked Trump.
Okay, you pick Trump again. That's fine.
I pick him over the Democrats.
Okay.
Know.
Well, you did it the last time.
The job did increase.
Okay, that's fine.
The job did get better. The job situation did get better. They would say, but we'll be talking.
All right, Winnie. And we got Jeff on line 1. Yes, sir.
Hey, you were incorrect about what you said because if you go to your research, the Department of Justice concluded that 2 of the 4 orders allowing the FBI to conduct a secret national security surveillance on former Trump campaign aide Carter Page were not valid because the government made material misstatements in obtaining those statements. The judicial order claimed that was a judicial order. This is NBC News, and it was dated. Let me give you the date so you can do a little research on it.
Well, didn't you hear me say that? I said that.
You said they had him under scrutiny, and this is all a what do you call it?
No, here's what I said. Here's what I said. Let me repeat what I said. They had Carter Page under surveillance prior to him joining the Trump campaign. Hold on, let me finish. They had him under scrutiny before he started joined the Trump campaign because he'd been making these visits back and forth to Russia. Then I further said there was a finding that some of those FISA warrants were improper. I said that.
Well, don't say that this was, what do you call it, misinformation put out by Trump, because that was not misinformation put out by Trump.
I didn't, you heard, I just repeated what I said.
Well, earlier you had said that was a, what do you call it, what was it, that was a...
Conspiracy theory?
Yeah, conspiracy.
No.
They always want to use that. They always think there's some kind of conspiracy. I just think, I don't know. I'm an independent voter, and I'm telling you right now, I'm going to watch tonight, and boy, I tell you what, I bet we're going to see some fireworks go.
Well,
but anyway, I wanted to make my voice heard. Okay?
That's fine. That's fine. And you found out I'm very consistent. I said what you had said. I said that there was some mishandling of the FISA warrants.
Right now, I'll take it off.
Okay. All righty.
Why I get upset with Ashley.
Okay, well, thank you. Somebody else is talking in the background, Cliff. He's gone. Okay. Got another guy trying to check me out, see whether or not I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's good. I like that. That keeps me sharp. I like that. Keep me sharp. Okay. Now, what I was saying, let me repeat what I said. Forbes magazine reported in 2014 that the Walmart workers cost taxpayers $6.2 billion in public assistance. I totaled up the top 7 salaries of the Waltons, and it came to $192.3 billion. Why are they fleecing us for benefits? Because they don't want to spend their money. They want us to spend our money to take care of their employees who are making them filthy rich. And you're mad about somebody going and buying a steak with their snap or buying a lobster tail? That pisses you off? If this don't upset you, nothing will upset you, because this is the ultimate fleece. They got enough money to pay for all of these folks to have some benefits so that we wouldn't have to pay. But we have to pay because they want to keep money in their pockets. And that's okay with you, because you'd rather kill the school lunch program or cut back benefits for people on SNAP than to make them pay for their own employees. Tell me how that makes sense. That don't make any sense at all. And if you're a logical thinking person and you just do the math, $6.2 billion versus $192.3 billion, they could almost give $1 billion apiece, and all of them would still have multi-billions of dollars, and we wouldn't have to be paying for their employees. Tell me that makes sense. We're going to go over about 15 minutes. We're going to make an announcement at 7 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We do have IRSC basketball coming up with Greg Wyatt, who's standing by on the Skype to go live shortly.
Yeah, so.
What was that again?
How do you spell FISA?
I think it's FISA, FISA, yeah.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So, are you voting for Bloomberg tonight?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just going to watch with great interest. I'm still trying to make up my mind. I haven't made up my mind yet. I'm being honest about that. I really haven't. Each of them have some warts I don't like. So I just haven't made up my mind yet.
It's going to be interesting.
It is. It is.
Carol will fill me in, since I'll probably miss the first hour of it.
Yeah, you know that. Just tell her.
What do you think Bernie and company will do to him?
I think that they will probably try to dredge up some of the stuff we've been seeing in the media about stop and frisk and some of the things that he said about the redlining. I think that they'll hit him with some of that. But the thing that I think he has going for him is, I have a very good friend that used to work for me when I was a manager in New York City. His son, awesome kid, is now a legislator in the state of New York. And I've picked his brain like 2 or 3 times about Bloomberg, because he was not a Bloomberg fan because of the stop and frisk. And he said to me, and I quote, "I would vote for him if I had to." So that was the response I got from him, and he's grown up in the Bronx. So we'll have to see.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie. It's actually 7:01. We're staying with the African-American scene a few extra minutes this evening because IRSC basketball, our pregame show with Greg Wyatt, will get started at about 7:15 shortly right here. Right, Greg?
Maybe.
Uh-oh.
Got about 50 seconds left. IRSC is going to win it big.
Okay.
It will be the ladies, their 17th victory of the year. Now, it all comes down to one game for the ladies, and that's on Saturday. and it's win, and they're in the state tourney.
Oh, great.
If they don't win, they go home. It's that simple. So as far as the guys go, any combination of IRSC victory or a Broward loss, and we are the champions. And I'm staring across the court right now, seeing Tim Ryan, the head coach at Central Florida, and he's here, I'm sure, to scout both teams, because one way or the other, he'll be playing either Broward or IRSC in a rematch of what we had a little bit earlier this year.
Oh, okay.
So the ladies' game is now over. 99-67 IRSC. Have a good rest of the show, Rude.
Okay, thanks, Greg.
All right. We'll be checking back in
Yeah,
with
that was
Greg
great.
at
Yeah, that was
7:15. Yeah. An extended African-American scene right now, so I guess we can open the phone lines back up.
Yes, please.
All righty.
If you didn't get a chance to call, now's your chance. That's 340-1590. That's 340-1590. Give me a call. I've been doing some fighting tonight. So if you feel like fighting too, call up and see if you can get me to not know what I'm talking about. That's your challenge. See if you can get me to say something that you think I don't know. It won't happen, but you can, because if I don't know, I'll say I don't know. If you've been listening to me for a long time, that's what I do. If I don't know, I'll say, well, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But anyway, so one more thing here. I'd like to know, when people request fairness in terms of the administration of the economy, why do you consider that socialism? Why? Why is that considered socialism? If you want to have fairness in the economy, that to me does not denote socialism. That denotes justice. And we got Joe on line one. Yes, sir.
Hi, Rudy. How you doing?
Okay.
Thanks for taking my call. I've listened to your show on and off, and you sound like a very thoughtful person. I'm a local here for many years. I grew up in New York and moved here in the 80s.
Okay.
I'm a white guy, going to be 50 this year.
Okay.
And so the reason I called is because you seem like a very thoughtful person. And you had asked about who we would vote for earlier in the show. And so is that topic still
yes
on the table?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm voting for Trump.
Okay.
And I'm kind of a one-issue voter. After that, we can discuss a lot of things, but I'm a pro-life person, and I will not vote for anybody that supports abortion.
Okay.
I heard a caller earlier that made a similar statement, and you had said something to him about school lunch programs and people that are pro-life not supporting,
yes,
children after they're born and things like that.
Yes.
But that seems to conflate the argument to a great degree.
Not at all. Not at all. Because you know what? I consider if you're pro-life, you're pro-life. You can be pro-birth, but if you're pro-life, you're pro-life. And the concern for the baby doesn't stop after it comes out of the womb. The concern for the baby is helping the baby develop and grow.
But I don't disagree with that. But
Okay.
they're two separate issues.
No, they're not.
Oh, sir, they are. They certainly are. If the child doesn't make it into the world, we have nothing to take care of.
Okay, but if the child comes into the world, okay, and there's no way to take care of the child, or the child lacks nutrition. Let me give you one really simple example. for those people that are opposed to the ACA, do you know one of the number one problems that teachers experience with younger kids? They can't see. They need glasses. And if you're poor and you can't go to the eye doctor to get a diagnosis, then you can't get glasses. And you might be flunking a class because you can't get glasses and you can't see.
So what, by your argument, you're saying that child shouldn't go to school.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is...
That's the argument.
No, my argument is that why shouldn't that child be able to see an eye doctor? The ACA required every plan that was sold to provide dental and vision for children under 17. What's wrong with that? Is there anything wrong with that?
Listen, those are separate arguments. They have nothing to do with this argument of pro-life, abortion, and non-abortion. They don't have anything to do with it. We can talk about that, and I agree with you on most of those arguments, maybe where there's some differences. I haven't explored them, but the argument is to allow somebody to terminate a pregnancy for whatever justification, and the justifications you're saying is, well, if they can't take care of the child, they should kill it. And I don't see that as being a viable option, because by that argument, well, the chance of the child surviving outside the womb is better than just killing it inside the womb, so give it a shot, whether it's taken care of or not.
Well, okay, that's the way you look at it.
No. Wait. That's
Listen,
not how...
let me tell you how I look at it. I get your point. And I understand. Listen, you're not the first person I've met that's a one-issue person when it comes to pro-life. Known plenty of them. Had a pastor who that was the only issue that mattered to him. I get it. But for me, now understand how I feel about it. I feel as though I'm not pro-abortion. I'm pro-choice, and there is a difference, because if you're not pro-life, they want to say you're pro-abortion. I am not pro-abortion. I am pro-choice. But if you're advocating to save the life, help me when they come out of the womb.
I have no problem with that. I'd be glad to.
Help that baby when it's out of the womb.
No problem there.
Okay, then that's my issue. If you say that if you say that you're pro-life and you want to cut a child lunch program and you don't think people should get temporary support if they're down on their luck, then you're not pro-life.
Yeah, but Rudy,
you're pro-birth.
Again, it's the same argument, but I agreed with you. But you're not agreeing with me. I agree with, yes, we should take care of the child. We just shouldn't kill the child. But you're saying, well, since there's people that won't take care of the child, we should kill it.
No, I'm not saying that.
We should allow people to kill it.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
So then you're pro-life.
I am pro-choice.
That's not the same thing. That's pro-death. What you're saying is,
I'm not
if you
pro-death.
can't take care of the child, then you can kill it.
I am not pro-death, and I am not pro-abortion. I am pro-choice.
Semantics, Rudy.
No, if a lady is raped by her uncle and she's pregnant, I think she should have a choice whether or not to have that baby or not.
We could have that discussion, but that's less than 1%.
Doesn't matter if it's less than 1%. It's still an option. Would you take that option away from her?
Wait, but that's not the option or the argument for carte blanche abortion.
Did I say? Listen, carte blanche. I know. They always make it so dramatic. Like
you can't possibly have any idea what he's talking about, Rudy. You can't. There's no way.
You know.
Well, it's like
yeah.
it's like when I have this discussion with Brian, the first thing he says, you want to rip the arms and legs off of a baby. You know, that's
he only says that because that's what they do with the machine.
Yeah, that's extreme. Yeah. That's the
and
extreme.
It's disgusting, but they
yeah,
do it.
Okay, but listen, all I'm saying to you is very simply this. My frustration is that if you are pro-life, be pro-life. That's all. That's all. I
am.
Okay. Then we're in agreement.
But we are in agreement, except that you don't understand the concept of allowing for the killing of an innocent child, except for maybe some egregious situations, which are arguable, and I'm not sure that I could make those determinations, but there's a conversation to be had. But aside from those, for abortion on demand or abortion for the way it's tabled today, I don't understand that concept.
You don't know. You assume that you know why everybody has an abortion, but you don't know.
I don't necessarily need to know why.
Okay. Well, you don't care because I get it. So if any of those things that I talked about were a potentiality, then you're saying it doesn't matter. Just save the baby.
I'm saying, yes. I'm saying I care for the child. It's not the child's fault that the woman was raped. Now that's up to her. But that, like I said, that's a different conversation.
Well, suppose your wife was going to die if she was going to have a baby, and you had to decide whether to save the baby or save your wife. Which one would you do? That happens too now.
It does happen, and I would have to defer to my wife. And if she wasn't able to make the determination, I know she would want to save the baby.
Would you want to save the baby or your wife?
I would want to save both of them if I had to make.
But if you don't have a choice,
I knew she.
But you don't have a choice.
If I had to make the choice, I would make the choice I think she would want to make.
You're dodging the answer, but okay.
No,
we don't have time.
No, I answered the question.
Okay, listen, we're at the end of the show. Thank you for calling. I appreciate you for a very lively discussion. And we are going to Greg Wyatt.
That's right.
As we go to IRSC basketball.